from Fair Trials International, who are helping people who have been facing extradition, I think in the EU and also outside. So Jago, thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Teresa. I don't know how you follow an act like that. I promise no singing from me. There's no easier way to clear this room. Well, good evening to all of you. I'm Jago, as Teresa explained, and I run the charity Fair Trials International. At Fair Trials International, we help people facing criminal charges in a foreign country. And over the last 15 years, we've fought miscarriages of justice all over the world. Our cases have included the Greek plane spotters, and most recently, the case of the Liverpool football fan Michael Shields. But I'm here tonight to talk to you about the European Arrest Warrant, Europe's fast-track extradition system. Until quite recently, extradition was quite a rare occurrence. Not anymore. The arrest warrant's changed all that. Now, if one EU country demands that a person is sent to face trial or serve a sentence in their country, other countries must simply comply. No questions asked. I'm here to talk to you about what's wrong with the warrant and to ask you to support our work to improve it. Let me first, though, reassure those of you in the audience who think extradition might be a very good thing. Frankly, I agree with you. People shouldn't be able to escape justice by crossing Europe's open borders. I don't oppose the principle of an arrest warrant within Europe. What I oppose is the avoidable injustice that the warrant is currently causing. I think the best way to demonstrate this injustice is to introduce you to one of its victims, Deborah Dart. Before I hand over to Deborah, who's here this evening, let me just briefly outline her story. Now, Deborah might not look much like a Butch Cassidy or a Ned Kelly, but she's a wanted woman. This grandmother is a wanted woman. She's being pursued across Europe under an arrest warrant issued by France. Her story started 20 years ago when she was set up by her former partner to drive a car containing drugs from Spain to France. Because Deborah knew nothing about the drugs in the car, the court in France cleared her of all the charges. But the prosecution appealed against this. They did so without telling Deborah or her lawyer, so there was no one in the court to present her defence, and not surprisingly, Deborah was convicted. Deborah knew nothing about this until 18 years later, until 2008, when she was arrested on the way home from a family holiday in Spain. After a month in a Spanish jail, the courts in Spain agreed that it would be unjust to extradite Deborah to France. But that wasn't the end of it. She then got back to the UK and she was arrested again at Gatwick Airport. Again, FTI helped her to fight this extradition, and rarely, an unusual occurrence, the British court said in this case they wouldn't extradite Deborah. Despite this, the French will not remove the arrest warrant against her. Deborah will be rearrested anywhere within Europe if she leaves the UK. Now, Deborah's kindly agreed to talk to us about how this ordeal has affected her. Thank you,
Deborah. I just want to make 2 points to tell you how this has affected me and to explain why I want to tell my story. I still haven't got over the horror of being arrested at Alicante Airport. I can't get out of my head the image of me sitting on the floor in the airport saying goodbye to my daughter and grandchildren, trying not to cry and not knowing when I could see them again. It felt like a flashback to what happened to me 20 years ago. It felt like our efforts to rebuild our lives over the last 20 years have been for nothing. I was elated when the Spanish court said I wasn't going to be extradited. It felt like someone had recognised what was happening to me was wrong. I went to pieces when I was then rearrested at Gatwick. Why was this happening to me again? The nightmare still isn't finished. This warrant is still there, stopping me getting on with my life. I keep thinking the system will change and that I will be sent to France. I can't visit my father in Spain or my friends in France. I'm stuck. The simple fact is, I don't want other people to be put through the same thing. Until the system is changed, what I've been through could happen to anyone or any of you. Every time I hear about another victim of this system, I know what they're going through. They must be thinking, like I did, Is there anyone out there that can help me? Without FTI, I wouldn't be here now. I would be in a jail in France serving 6 to 10 years. I wouldn't be able to look after my grandchildren and watch them grow up.
Well, thank you, Deborah. At FTI, we know what needs to change to stop injustice like this. And the challenge now is to make people wake up and realise that the system isn't working. And at FTI, we think real-life cases like Deborah's are the best way to do this. Who couldn't be moved by a story like Deborah's? As you can see from some of these slides, since launching our campaign this summer, we're already starting to generate significant coverage. Our cases have been covered in all of the UK's major papers, as well as on TV and the radio. I particularly like the Sun one, the Sun headline there, EU are next. Very, very Sun headline there. And this was already starting to have an impact. In fact, just last month we were invited to Europe. The European Commission had organised a meeting with all EU countries to discuss problems with the warrant, and they drew on FTI's cases, including Deborah's, to show the need for reform. Deborah's case isn't an isolated example. In fact, there were 13,000 warrants issued across the EU in 2008. In 2008, there were 350 warrants in the UK alone, and this is set to increase to nearly 1,000 by 2010. The arrest warrant is being used for all sorts of minor offences, from stealing chickens, stealing bicycle tyres, to having some fake notes sold to you by Thomas Cook. It was designed to tackle terrorism, but that's not what it's being used for. Deborah and I are here to ask for your support so we can continue to campaign for a fairer system of European extradition. We don't want to abolish the warrant, we just want it to work fairly. Our campaign costs about £5,000 every month, and with this we continue to help people like Deborah facing up fair extradition. We'll continue to raise the profile of the warrant and of the need for reform, and we'll continue to persuade policymakers of the need for change. I hope you'll support us. Thank you.